I do call the meeting of the Human Services Committee to order. And under the authority of the county board rules, I appoint members Yu and Rutledge to serve as temporary members of this committee to establish a quorum. A physical quorum of the members. Oh, is she not? She's not here. Nothing,
I don't
Greg?
think she's on.
No, she's not.
Okay, we'll skip that part. Okay. All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Oh, somebody come in.
Okay. Chair Swarzy,
Here.
Chair, or Member Cahill,
Here.
Member Garcia, Member Desart, Member Rutledge.
Here.
Member Yu.
Here.
Hey, do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
All right, I have no remarks today. Does any of the members have anything they'd like to add to this morning? Okay, go right into the agenda. I'll take a motion to approve item 25, 1996, the Human Services Committee regular meeting,
So moved.
Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. Approval of the minutes. You got a motion? Do we get a second?
Yeah. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll take a motion on FIR 13325, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Human Services Homeless Prevention Grant for program year 26 in the amount of $384,000.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll take the motion on FIR 13425, correction of a Scrivener's error in resolution FIR 12025 for the HUD 2024
So moved.
Continuum of Care Planning Grant for program year 26, approved and adopted on August 12th, 2025, adjusting the budget lines. Any discussion here? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Take a motion on 25, 1997. Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Gather Dynamic for the use and maintenance of a community analysis dashboard and a community performance dashboard to publicly display the homeless system performance metrics for community services from August 20th, 2025 through August 19th, 2028 for a contract total not to exceed $17,997. We had a motion, a second. Any discussion? Can you explain what this is?
Sure. And I was just thinking, we'll do a demonstration coming up in the next couple of meetings. So, if you go to DuPageHomeless.org, there's all the information about our homeless continuum of care. And what this, dashboard does is it shows how many people have come through the system, how many are chronically homeless, how many are veterans, those kind of statistics. And so it's the statistics that show the entire homeless continuum of care. It's not just folks, seen by our agency, but it includes, people who've been in emergency shelter or interim housing through PADS and anybody who's in that collection system, that data collection system. Obviously, no personally identifying information, it's just aggregated information.
Okay, thank you very much. I will do a roll call on this, please.
Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Cahill.
Aye.
Member Garcia, Member Desart, Member Galassi, Member LaPlante, and Member Rutledge.
Aye.
Chair Swarzy.
Aye. Okay, thank you. I will take a motion on HSP 4325, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Kronos Inc., a UKG company for software support services for the Kronos automated time and attendance system for the DuPage Care Center for the period of September 28th, 25 through September 27th, 26 for a contract total not to exceed $90,980. We did get a motion. Do we get a second? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. I'll take a motion on HSP 4425, recommendation for the approval of a contract to White Construction Services to provide final architectural and engineering design and professional construction manager at risk, guaranteed maximum price method of delivery for the modernization and upgrades of the DuPage Care Center East Building for the period of August 26, 25 through November 30th, 2029 for a contract total amount not to exceed $16,166,500.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Janelle, can you tell us about this? So this is for the new East Center. And is this just the architectural or is
It's
this?
the entire remodel renovation of the east building. There's 2 floors, 2 units. One east, which is predominantly for a short stay Medicare, and 2 east is long-term care.
And Tim is here too, I think, if you have any questions.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay. And if you recall, we discussed this a few months back. It was also brought to the county board and it was unanimous. So,
You as a board have approved 75% of the architecture, and that is going. We needed to get the architecture, you want to get the architecture about 50% done so that you can get a solid construction price.
Okay,
So this is the last 25% of the architecture and then the full construction.
okay, got it. Thank you.
okay. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Take a motion on 25-1998 recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Voris Mechanical Inc. for replacement HVAC rooftop unit for the DuPage Care Center for the period August 20th, 2025 through August 19th, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed
So moved.
$25,817.50. You get a second?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Member Cahill,
Aye.
Member Garcia, Member Desart, Member Galassi, Member LaPlante, Member Rutledge,
Aye.
Member you,
Aye.
Chair Swarzy.
Aye. All right, great. Thank you, everybody. We'll go on to Mary Keating with our community services update. We do not have residency waivers, so.
Great. I had a quick update today because we kind of reversed the order because Janelle's budget presentation. So Janelle's going to throw a bunch of numbers at you, so I thought I would throw a bunch of numbers at you. In our managers meeting last week, the managers were just kind of reporting out on some of their statistics, so I thought you might find some of our statistics interesting. This is for LIHEAP, which is now closed. We're just finalizing a couple applications that are still outstanding. We've taken 10,965 applications, 10,129 have been approved. It's about a 92-93% approval rate, which is really outstanding work on behalf of or being performed by the LIHEAP staff. We gave new furnaces to 72 homes, and then in addition, fully weatherized an additional 68 homes. In our seniors program, Adult Protective Services has taken, and this is year to date since January, right? Yeah, since January. Adult Protective Services has taken 603 APS reports. We've done over 1,300 new intakes for seniors in the community care program or MCOs, so those in-home, those home-based services. Our screening staff, those are the folks who are in the hospitals who have to see every single person who's being discharged to long-term care to just determine their eligibility for long-term care and also talk to them about options to remain in their home. We've done over 7,000 individual screenings in the DuPage hospitals. And I'm just kind of giving you some of the highlights here. Our community outreach team has attended 78 different community events. They've talked to 4,145 residents. And then our information and referral staff, our call taking staff have talked to 21,375 residents of DuPage County. And of those, almost 2,000 are handled by our bilingual Spanish staff. I think that's it. Like I said, I just wanted to.
Intake and
kind of give you some
referral,
of
that's
the-
just through January through today.
That's since yeah, that's also since January. Yeah, everything, LIHEAP is since October of last year. All the other ones are since January. Yeah.
So the in-hospital screening, are
Mhm.
those your employees,
Yes.
our employees that are in the hospital?
Yes.
And they just go out there and go to DuPage hospitals and talk to seniors who have
Right.
had surgery or something, or
If
how does it work?
So, Natasha, you can fill in if you need to, but let me start and then you can fill in. So we have staff who are employees of our department who are housed in every hospital. So before someone could get discharged into long-term care, they have to be provided with information about what other options there are in the community. They also do a screening called a determination of need to make sure that the person is appropriate for long-term care. So, is that about it?
Yes.
Yeah, so the person can't, and if for
So is the
some
person
reason.
like full-time in the hospital?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Yes.
have, because we have 7 hospitals, so we have 11 staff in the Choices program.
Okay.
They do screenings in the community as well. So if someone was to be going into a long-term care facility from home, they have to have that same screening. And then we have staff in each hospital as well as some staff that we call, kind of float between different hospitals to make sure.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they do about 30 screens a day or a week, each staff, so they're pretty busy.
And the long-term care facilities have to have that paperwork in order to admit someone, or within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
right? Actually, Janelle knows all about it.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
It really, especially for your developmentally disabled or your MI facility, so we are not an MI facility. We do take developmentally disabled, but they have to have a primary diagnosis of a skilled need. So, that kind of differentiates to make sure we're not taking an MI person, because we don't provide those type of services or programming. So that screen is very important to us. One, to make sure that they're appropriate for placement, and the state does look at that. And apparently so does the Department of Justice. So they're looking at that very closely right now for the state of Illinois, apparently.
And IDPH is looking at it now.
Yes.
Every time they come in, last two
Yeah.
Make
surveys.
sure that you have.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
making sure they're updated too.
Yep.
So.
That's great stuff. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Member Rutledge?
Just a quick question, Mary, the 22,000 calls that you fielded, how many people are tasked with taking those calls?
How many staff do we have in INR? You know?
There's
Well,
about,
guesses.
there's 3 on the 2-in-1 line and about 8 to 9 on the regular line.
It's a busy day. Thanks for that.
Member Hughes?
Oh, thank you, Chair. So Mary, you had said that there were 78 different community outreach events that you guys were tabling at staffing. And do you feel like the 211 calls or the INR calls have increased as a result? Or like, is there, I think it would probably be hard to really make the determination of, what's the difference between before and after, but do you have any data like that?
Well, it's difficult to make that direct tie. I think just the fact that we've engaged with over 4,000 people. And, we're talking not just about things at the county, but how to, the 211 website. So, those numbers are all going up. It's difficult to make that direct tie. We don't have a how did you hear from here? How did you hear about us?
Yeah.
Kind of screening at any point. So
Thank you.
The
website hits are increasing every year, so we think that that's definitely making a difference there.
Any other questions for Mary? All right, thank you very much, Mary.
Okay.
And please note that, no, that's okay. Member Garcia and Member Desart are here from their public
Please
works.
note that we're late because we had another meeting.
Yes,
I will
yes,
think-
yes.
Yeah, I
Oh,
might, I don't know.
All right, let me
Carrie's
just did it
online.
just to
do
be-
this real quick. Carrie, we're gonna get you in, just so you know, we are in the very end of our meeting. Janelle's gonna be presenting her budget here shortly, but physical quorum of the members is physically present. I will entertain a motion to permit those members
So
not
moved.
physically present due to
Second.
personal illness, disability, employment purposes, or for the business of the board or family or other emergency to participate by video or teleconference. We had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Janelle is going to present her budget presentation.
May I sit here? Is that okay?
Yes.
I'll be able to see. I'd like to hand these out, one for every person.
Will this handout also be on the,
It will not.
okay,
I reference it.
I'll take a picture of it and send it over to Carrie, so.
Thank you.
Should be enough. I have one. You need it? All right. First and foremost, I want to talk about the care center budget process. So the care center is made up of 20 different departments. So it's a very big budget. It's a very laborious process. We as a leadership team meet with every single department and we go through the budget for that department line item by line item. So we go back to 2022, we look at where what we budgeted, where we landed. We look at the full year because in our environment, things can cost a lot more money towards the end of the year because you're doing more programming, Christmas, all the holidays, more food. So you really need to look at a full 12 months. It's always been one of my big proponents, but I wanted to share that with you so you can understand the thoroughness of this process and how everyone is very involved. We have a very strong set of directors. And we also use what's called budget control logs. So they know their expenses. And then it's just like a checkbook. So as they spend money, it's deducted from their budget control log, and we have someone that does contracts and procurement, Christine, she helps monitor that to make sure that they're staying within their budget control log or their budget and their contract. So just to kind of give you a little background on, so we can go ahead and start. So the first slide is that showing that the care center delivers a budget that's break even, meaning our revenues should match our expenses. And so you can see there, I'll get into detail on these more, but you have your patient care, investments, county subsidy. We're not doing any county subsidy at this point in time. We've done that in the past. When I started, it was $3 million. That was about 8 years ago, and it's gone down. So there is no county subsidy provided to the care center. And then you can see the expenses there as well.
Question?
Yeah.
There's no county subsidy, but then the county provides IT services.
That's in the indirects. Yep,
Okay,
yep, those are there as well.
where in the indirect?
It will say
Other financing.
other financing sources and indirects. Yep,
Okay.
yep. So that's the care center portion of some of those services.
Yeah, member Sir.
What is non-patient care for a million?
We do, that would be revenue from like the cafes. And we do laundry for other departments on the campus. So anywhere where we try to come up with some new revenue. So that's other non-patient revenue.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions? I don't want to go too fast. All right, the next is a snapshot slide you received last Friday from Jennifer, a very big document. So this is kind of a snapshot showing our revenues. And I will tell you this, our budget is very hard to track because of a multitude of things. In 2022, 2023, we had ARPA, we had CARES Act funding, and we also had COVID. So when you look at our revenues, our census went down because of COVID. It went down approximately 100 from 2020 to 2022. We also had construction in there, so we were limited on beds. So it's very hard to decipher. We really try to go with the status quo budget, but knowing all those things. So when you look at this, you're going to see a lot of variances that may require a lot of explanation. But those are the big hitters that are affecting that. But you also, in 2025, we had the Kenneth Moy money in here under revenue and a CDBG. So those two collectively are about 2.8 million. You will not see that in the next year, 45 million, because we're using those funds in 2025. But we have to show them as a revenue and an expense. Does that make sense? Okay, next slide. So here's some talking points. So our revenue is down since 2021 related to COVID. We do continue to have outbreaks through the first quarter of 2025, and I'm not going to talk about it because they'll jinx us. But anyway, having continued to inhibit our admissions. To help with this process, we decided to move our COVID unit to another unit because it was on our short stay unit. So half of our short stay unit would oftentimes be tied up with COVID. The PUIs, people under investigation, because a person with COVID, their roommate becomes a PUI. You also have to isolate them as well. So it was really tying up a lot of our beds. And so often we were not able to admit. So by putting it on another hallway behind fire doors, it has its own area and it's not impeding those admissions. We just did that within 2 quarters ago.
Yes.
So there's that. And so that will has allowed us to, in fact, we have seen more admissions, short stay admissions without having to have that issue. So construction, IDPH approvals really slowed down our project. And so we had to start doing 2 and 3 units at one time for construction. So the last round of construction and that we're finishing up on, we actually had 2 to 3 units. We were down 100 beds. So for greater than 6 months of 2025. Into 2026, construction will only limit occupancy by 56 beds. Only. So the occupancy is expected to be higher, assuming no additional restricted admissions and continued increase in hiring to care for residents. Because that's the other thing. If you're going from, oh, today these 100 beds are available, now you need 5 CNAs on the day shift, 5 CNAs on the PM shift, 2 to 3 CNAs on nights. Then you need a nurse. Then you need, so we can't just open it one day and staff it the next. It's going to take us a while. We can't hire people and have them sit and wait because we never know what IDPH is gonna walk in to do that survey. So it's really kind of a waiting game and we're trying to manage that the best we can. I think we've gotten very good at it through the last few years. So the per diem rates by payer are varied. So with the potential impacts on Medicaid rates and skilled nursing is still an unknown. There is nothing really federally that's impacting us. It will be if the state is being hit so hard, what will they do to the Medicaid rate? So we don't know that yet. We anticipate higher rates for Medicare. The latest number is a 3.2% increase. Private pay rate will also be higher. I want to remind everyone, our private pay rate has to be higher than our Medicaid rate legally. So we will be putting forth in November a rate increase there. Just so that that's always, if our private pay rate's lower than our Medicaid rate, we can only bill at that lower rate. Okay? And we expect stable rates for insurance. So that's the revenue. Any other questions on revenue? So this looks at our payer mix by percentage, which is pretty important for more reasons than in 2023, actually. So you can see that we really want to keep a high percentage of Medicaid. One, because we're the safety net for the county. Two, because under the CNA tenure program, where we're paying CNAs up to $6.50 more an hour, that we're reimbursed by the state, whatever the percentage is our Medicaid. So 88% of every $6.50 we pay is covered by the state.
Great.
So, and then you can see the private pay. Private pay is predominantly people coming in with spend down. There are some that are truly private pay, but mostly it's people coming in with limited assets and then they spend down to Medicaid. Medicaid pending is very important. It's becoming more important. We accept Medicaid pending. And Imba, the finance manager behind me, and her team does a phenomenal job with a finance meeting. They really work closely with families on getting that application done. That's going to be more important because the state is now not doing retro back to 3 months. They're only going to do it back to 2 months. So you have to have all that paperwork in, submitted, and approved by a public aid person in 2 months. If it takes 3 months, you're going to lose 1 month worth of funding. You're basically that person staying for free. So a lot of facilities don't take Medicaid pending, and that is a big challenge for that person. Yes?
Thank you, Chair. Are these numbers going to change starting like 2027 when, because Medicaid has now been affected by federal funding cuts and that kind of thing? I just wanted to check.
We always shift our, Medicare has always been a really good reimbursement for us. But when Medicaid rate reform came in, Medicaid's pretty strong for us now. And I think the success of the care center is really attributed to the volume. We can do this because of volume. If you have a 100-bed facility and you're losing $140 a day because they don't have the same rate we do, but a lot of facilities are losing $140 a day on every Medicaid person they take. So they have to offset that deficit with insurance and Medicare. So a lot of these facilities really push the Medicare. So it just works for us to alter that percentage just based on what rate. We keep all our eggs in different baskets to always remain versatile. So next slide. So then we get into expenses, and you can see the expenses were continually coming under, but there's a multitude of reasons for that as well. So again, we had ARPA, we had
CARES Act.
yeah, no, I know. I heard you say something behind me. I was like, I'm missing something. CARES Act. So there's a lot of funding that's come in there. And then we've also had the addition of the 2022, we had the CNA tenure. So you're going to see that 650 hit our financials, but then you're going to see it backed out by when we get reimbursed by the state for that 88%. In the beginning of 2024, you see our budget went from 45.5, I feel like Vanna, 45.5 to 46.9. We did that AFSCME wage adjustment. Remember, we identified we needed to do some wage changes. We went to the union and we proposed that big adjustment. So people were given a one-time adjustment. If they worked in the kitchen and they've been there for 20 years, they made the same as anybody else. So we did an adjustment based on years of service. So they got a one-time adjustment. So a lot of them had a significant increase, and we're still carrying that going forward. So 2024, you'll see that there was about approximately a 1.2. The CNA tenure, our portion runs around 300,000 of that 650. I would say 99% of our CNAs already have 6 years' experience or more, so they get the full $6.50. If they have 1 year experience, they get $1.50, and it goes up from there. Yes,
So 2025 current budget, 48,066. 2025 projected, is that projected through year end, correct?
yes.
So you're at, or fiscal year end, so you're at
Yes.
40 million. Why $8 million projected less?
So the 1.8 or the 2.8 is the Kenneth Moy money that's in there. So we have to put it in as a revenue.
Capital outlay.
Yep. So you'll see that in there.
But
Okay,
I'm saying, why are expenses so much less?
so expenses.
Okay, the current budget, the 4.4 has capital outlay down to 2.8.
Right, correct. So what you're gonna see is that we are budgeting, assuming we could get to 240 beds. We weren't able to get to 200. Every year, we're doing a status quo budget, but because of COVID and those things, we're not able to get there. The staff, this is where I talked about that budget control log. They're very good at maintaining expenses based on census. We're way under in census from our budget. We were not able to get to that because of 100 beds down for construction and our COVID outbreaks.
But do we
So-
want to budget again for 46 million?
We're
based on the
optimistic
fact
that-
Okay, we're trying to be more, the whole goal is to be closer to actual in all our
Absolutely,
budgets.
but
So-
that's exactly, and that's why I prefaced my presentation on all the different variables that are affecting why it looks like this.
So I'm sorry. This is sort of a follow-up to, and save your thought.
Go ahead.
So, Janelle, with revenue, with this being a balanced budget, meaning your, a break-even budget.
Mhm.
So your expenses are gonna turn out to be around $40 million. But the revenue is still gonna be around 46 or
No, the
whatever.
revenue is gonna be low as well,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's,
right? So when we know the revenue is gonna be low, we're making sure our expenses are below that.
so it's always still a break here.
Right, so you do your budget, assuming you're gonna be at 240 census,
Mhm.
right, for expenses and revenues. If your census isn't there, you're certainly not gonna run your expenses to that budget because you're gonna have a loss.
But you have to do it this way because you want those beds filled and you want to be able to.
Correct, we didn't know we were gonna be 100 beds down at one time. We didn't know we were gonna still have COVID outbreaks. Every year we're thinking, it's gotta be less, right?
Gotcha.
And it wasn't, but now we've also made a change in how we're handling the COVID unit. So we're being proactive. So yes, we're hoping.
So these are, and the reason I'm glad Member Cahill's bringing up these questions, because these are
Yep.
questions you'll probably see at the county board level as well. So,
Right.
okay.
Yep. And that's why I tried to preface it. So, that $40 million is a reflection of reduced spending based on a lower than budgeted census,
Meaning lower revenues as well.
lower revenues. Right.
Less people.
So we're not getting an extra $6 million that we're stashing away somewhere.
You know, the care center's done very well with managing their expenses to revenues. And that's where we got the fund balance. But if you looked at the snapshot out here that was provided, this document here, you'll see our revenues are going down, our variance, so to actual. So we were 3.5, 2.5, 4.8, 5, sorry, they're going up. My mistake. But that's because of the Kenneth Moy money and the CDBG, so it skews it. So then when you get here, expenses, again, a lot was pulled out and taken to ARPA. So these numbers really don't reflect our usage. So that skews that. So you'll see our expenses, they're tailing off at about $8 million variance.
So the salaries, that is based on a certain number of beds. And so then you don't hire people you only hire those people or expend those salaries when you have all those beds full.
Right,
correct?
right.
So it's not like you hire people in anticipation of additional beds and then it doesn't, pan out.
Right,
So
we
you
have to
extra
wait until
people.
yep.
You wait.
Right.
So there's no.
Yep, and we'll get into that a little bit more on this spreadsheet. But yeah, so we manage the salaries piece. we don't hire and fill it until we have the unit need.
Okay.
But what you will see is you have that fluctuation between regular salaries, overtime, bonuses, and agency. So you're able to reduce those high cost areas and increase your regular salaries in that scenario, which is what we would ultimately want to do.
Okay.
And you can see in your final budgets, requests, basically from 22, 23, all the way to today, they're all very similar amounts. It's just that you don't have the quantity of patients and beds full, and so it's always
Yeah,
gonna
it's
turn
a
out to be a
lot.
little bit lower.
You can't really even look at that because of the ARPA, because, and then you get down here and in 25, it's 48 million because 2 million is Kenneth Moy. And another 800,000 was CDBG, right? We spent that early. So you take 2.8 million off of that 48 and then look at it and compare.
Okay.
Because we put it in as a revenue and we take it out as an expense.
Could you clarify the Kenneth Moy money? Because I thought that he got naming rights in the care center because he gave X amount of dollars, but does he give it every year?
No, this is still the money that hasn't been spent.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yep.
which-
It's
you're
been
like,
sitting, yep,
do
no,
we
I
get
know.
Kenneth Moy money every year? That'd be nice,
nope.
okay, so we just haven't spent it yet.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
It's in the
Thank you.
25, yep.
Okay.
What other questions? Sorry about the complexity.
No,
No, it's
that's what it
It's
is.
awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Go ahead.
All right, let's see what the next slide gives us. It gives us the details on the expenses. So in 2026, we had an overall decrease by 4.9 compared to the 25. Again, the Kenneth Moy funds are not included in 26. Salaries for 26 are under based on actual 25 positions filled and anticipated positions to be filled in 26. So we do have anticipated positions we're filling in 26 optimally, but not enough to do 100 beds that we would reopen potentially. Benefits are over by 2.3%. The budget reflects the we do budget our COLA, which I don't know all departments do that, but the care center does, and an 8% increase in employee health insurance. Professional services are under by 5.3%, and that's where I'm going to talk about the document I handed out because that's a reduction of agency staff. Other contractual services increased by 10, primarily due to program costs such as a hotspot for emergency preparedness we added. We did a Relias program, which is education for staff. They can do it right at the building instead of going out to seminars because all the nurses and all the licensed staff need to maintain CEUs for their license. Maintaining the point-click care medical record, which has been phenomenal for us and so simplistic, and it worked really well when the state comes in because they're familiar with that medical record. Kronos is our timekeeping system, and CarePort is for receiving referrals. So then the hospitals want you to have this system. They put their referrals through CarePort. That's how you analyze potential admissions. So if you don't participate in CarePort, you don't get the referral. So they kind of have you there. And then the next is we're doing a big rebranding and marketing. So with the remodel, we're working very closely, got some really great assistance from the health department team is helping us with the marketing rebrand. And the photos will become, White's doing the photos for us for that when we get further along. And then the capital allocation for 26 reflects a decrease of 42%. Again, that's the Kenneth Moy money being in 25, but not being in 26. Yep,
Yes, go ahead.
Did you know that Kenneth Moy just recently died?
I do.
Yeah.
He did.
So I was thinking, I don't know if the county would do anything or say anything, or maybe put his date of birth and death on something, but yeah, he just recently died.
Right, so his son is part of our foundation and his son is very involved with the care center. We
Right.
have him over to look at remodel, even though he got naming rights.
Yeah.
They still really have an interest in the remodel and how that money is being used. So we've partnered with him and he's very integral.
Good, perfect.
Yep. All right, the next is to reference this handout. So what this handout represents is just nursing wages, all the areas that hit our wages. So we have regular employees, that's regular hours. We have overtime, we have part-time employees, we have registry hours, which are people that pick up a set number per month, shifts per month. Then we have our agency, and then you can see our actual and budget. And what I'm trying to show here is in 2024, when we put the wage, 1.2 million in wage to AFSCME, the goal was to reduce agency and increase regular hours by having higher wages to market. And you can see in 2025 anticipated, you can see the increase in our regular hours, and you can see the decrease in our agency. So you're showing that that's working. In 2026, I went up a little bit in agency because if we open a unit, I might have to use agency to help us staff that until we can get higher. But hiring has gone up. We're seeing, how many people do we have in orientation?
4, right?
4. That's pretty consistent. So our hiring has improved. So the whole concept of looking at those wages, and if someone's a new hire, their pay is a reflection of their experience. So if you have a cook that's been a cook for 4 years, they're at a different rate than what they would have been in the prior model. So remember, when I started, we had people making $10.97 an hour. And many of those people now make into the 18, 19 because we're now paying them for how many years they've been in that position.
How is the, I'm sorry, Paula, go
I
ahead.
just said as they should.
Oh. How is the turnover rate a little lower than it has been because people are making?
You know, the care center has done very well with turnover. I think our benefits and our pension are, you know, when you compare us to the industry, we're very low. I will say the more you hire, especially like CNAs, you're gonna see 1 or 2 fall off here or there.
I mean, part of the goal was as we increase wages, hopefully we keep people longer. And
Yeah.
so I hope the turnover rate is lower than it has been in the
Yeah,
past. So.
Yeah, the other thing is reducing bonuses, which really isn't its own category. It's lumped into these dollars. But we're reducing bonuses, we're reducing overtime, and you can see the agency. Because we were like 1 point, and 2023 is really not actual. We weren't really 678 because again, that went to ARPA. So that one, I mean, we were much higher.
And when you say reducing bonuses, much of that was incorporated into their salaries.
Right, for pickup shift bonus.
Yeah.
Yep. My DON does an extremely good job because when you're offering bonuses constantly and you start to stop offering bonuses, that's a very hard transition and she managed it very well.
Member Garcia.
What is the ETA on getting every single room available? I don't know what the construction schedule is.
So while the contract for the east building says 29, I think the done date's 2027.
Yeah, correct. So north is done mid 26 and
Yep.
then we start east and that's about a year. So mid 27.
Good. Any other questions for Janelle? I'm gonna make a comment. So, was it last year, was it 2024 that the facility was named 3rd best in the state?
Yes, on that, there's different metrics and measures, but yes.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
you know, we hear that and we're excited about that, but the work that you and your staff do that makes everything look so easy, and I know it's not easy, and I know you guys, so thank you to your staff and thank you to you for really making this possible and making such a wonderful facility, and we don't thank you guys enough, so this is a.
Can I want to thank you guys because, you know, I live in Belvedere. When Belvedere was hit, I was actually in the storm on the way home. My husband is an administrator. He's in a facility in Belvedere and there's a sister facility owned by a big organization. And they only have 2 facilities now in Rockford or that area and the rest are all throughout the state. They keep buying more facilities. And it's very challenging for them because they have to basically talk to the owner to get permission to buy necessities. So I went with him to his facility to try and help. There were big trees down on the facility, on cars. They were on generator. Their generator doesn't power probably 40% of the building. Ours powers 80, 90%. And so they were trying to look at little tray card information and serve residents. They could hardly see. It was just unbelievable, the resources that we have that other facilities across the nation do not have. You know, the fact that our generator has a backup generator is huge. You know, that if we don't have air conditioning, somebody's gonna fix it and not wait months. The other building in that town had an air conditioner and on a whole half the building wasn't running when we were up in the 90s. And their temperatures exceeded the regulation. And it is life-threatening and it's very scary. And because my husband has experience, he worked for days in that building to get the generator to limp along. And and try and come up with alternative sources of air conditioning. So we are a facility of resources and it's based on the county and what they put forth for the care center.
Glad to hear.
So you should all be proud.
You didn't, did the generators have to kick in last week when the community
here.
lost power? Okay, thank you very much.
No.
Do we have any old business? Do we have any new business? Okay, without objection, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.